Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be looking at an alien encounter case that put a military base on high alert and would change the life of an individual forever. Enjoy. Today, our story takes us to New Jersey, United States. New Jersey is famous for its beautiful coastlines and is a popular destination for tourists. 50 miles from the centre of Jersey lies the McGuire Air Force Base. One man who worked at the Air Force Base was Security Officer Jeffrey Morse. One evening in January of 1978, Jeffrey was on a shift. Things were going to plan as usual. He was sat in his control room, sipping coffee while looking at the security cameras. Then, in a 2-hour time period between 3 AM and 5 AM, several strange oval crafts with green lights were seen hovering over the base. Shortly after the sighting, Jeffrey was ordered to go to Gate 5 to allow a state trooper to enter the site after an alert had been issued. The trooper allegedly desired access to a runway section that connected to a densely wooded region that is part of the Fort Dix testing area and led to the furthest rear of the airstrip. The trooper informed Morse that he had been pursuing a low-flying object. He described it as oval-shaped and featureless, glowing with a greenish glow. The UFO hovered over the military police officer's vehicle, and then a strange entity emerged in front of it. Roughly 4 feet tall, greyish-brown in colour, long limbs, a slim torso and a large head characterised it. In a panic, the officer fired 5 bullets from his pistol into the creature's torso, and another into the UFO overhead, which then soared straight up into the sky, joining 11 other UFOs. The alien then fled into the woods, crossing the boundary between the two bases before falling and seemingly dying on the vacant runway where the state trooper had sought access. When Morse learned of the event, numerous patrols had already been dispatched. Despite the bizarre turn of events, Morse and his colleagues continued to follow standard crime scene procedures before the Air Force of Special Investigations arrived and took command of the situation, relegating Morse to a supporting role, but he could still see what was going on from afar. Morse was within 40 to 70 feet of the body on runway 5. He was never close enough to judge finer aspects, like the creature's facial features or its hands or feet, but he could tell the creature was short, hairless and grey. These beings are often called the Greys because of their skin coloration, and are widely known in the UFO community. Later, Morse was subject to an interview with his superiors and military base officials. Morse was offered the suggestion that the entity could have been a deer or an escaped ape from a nearby experimentation lab, but Morse immediately replied, "There are no zoos nearby. We've had a deer problem on the runway before, but no one ever made such a big deal about it before." Morse also said that the night air smelled strongly like ammonia, which is a quality shared by many other UFO accounts. A blue beret-clad personnel from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base came in a C-141 aeroplane later that day and approached the body. They sprayed the creature's carcass with a liquid from a portable tank before covering it with a white sheet, and by morning the body had been carefully placed on a platform with a wooden frame around it. Finally, this frame was placed inside a big silvery metal container with undistinguishable blue marks. The unidentified men used a forklift to carry the box into another box and then onto a plane before it flew away. Nothing was stated about the incident after that. No report was filed, and Morse and his buddy were threatened with court-martial if they spoke out about what happened on that day. Morse and other participants in the strange occurrence were brought to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio 2 days after the incident, when they were subjected to threatening questions regarding the strange occurrence and were once again told to not talk about it. According to Morse, the people told him about his duty and to keep his mouth shut. Shortly after his return to the McGuire Air Force Base, each of the airmen that were engaged in the incident were sent to a different overseas base, with Morse being assigned to Okinawa. Another unusual occurrence occurred in October 1986 when Morse returned to the United States to visit his family. He was arrested in California under dubious circumstances. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll see you in my next video.